Good morning, students. Welcome back to Atmiya Green School. This is Afreen Sayed, your English teacher. Students, we are here on our fourth chapter, which says Nature, Creator, and Destroyer. If you can see from the very first chapter, we have a various themes. Like Unit 1 carries the theme of school years. Unit 2 carries the theme of wanderlust. Unit 3 carried the theme of real life heroes. Unit 4 says nature, creator, and destroyer. In which very first, that is section 1 says something wonderful happens when you plant a seed. Okay. So what does this chapter is about? What does it mean? Or what central theme it carries is of nature that we can understand from the main heading. But here, when they says that something wonderful happens when you plant a seed, in that in this chapter we have an interview with Wangrai Maathai. Now, the question arises: who was Wangrai Maathai? Wangrai Maathai was a Nobel Prize winner, and she was first African woman who was awarded and who was given honorary. Okay, and she was the first African woman to win the Nobel Prize. Let me give you a short introduction about her. Wangrai Maathai was born on 1st of April 1940. She was a renowned Kenyan social, environmental, and political activist and first African woman to win the Nobel Prize. As a beneficiary of the Kennedy Airlifts, she took an opportunity to study in the United States, earning a bachelor's degrees and master's degrees. She then went on to become the first woman in East. I repeat, she then went on to become the first woman in East and Central Africa to earn a PhD at University of Nairobi in Kenya. In 1977, Maathai founded the Green Belt Movement. What does the Green Belt Movement means? Students, what does the Green Belt Movement means? It was an indigenous grassroots non-governmental organization based in Nairobi, Kenya that takes a holistic approach to development by focusing on environmental conservation, community development and capacity building. Students, it is very necessary that we have a women's or people who participate in the care of nature just like Wangrai Maathai did. Wangrai Maathai was a very strong woman who stood hold and hold her position strong. She went on and she worked for the women's right, and in 1984 she was awarded the Right Livelihood Award for converting the Kenya ecological debate into mass action for reforestation. Maathai was an elected member of parliament and served as assistant minister for environment and natural resources in the government of President between January 2003 and November 2005. She was honorary counselor of World Future Council. She was affiliated to professional bodies and received several awards. On Sunday, 25th September 2011, Maathai died of complication from ovarian cancer. But her work is still alive in our hearts. Students, Maathai gave a very important message to all of us that no matter how the society looks upon you, no matter where you are from, but if you have the ability to work, if you have ability to shine, if you really want to give your efforts to the world, if you really want to stand for the wrongdoings around you, if you really want to take some initiation towards the development, there is nothing which can really stop you. Let's read, students. Here is an interview with Mathai. A Kenyan environmentalist wins the Nobel Peace Prize. Here is an interview that Syria magazine had with her. On a wintry Norwegian afternoon, Wangrai Maathai stood on bright blue podium in Oslo City Hall to accept the 2004 Nobel Peace Prize, the first environmentalist and first African woman to be so honored. We are called to assist the earth, she said, to heal her wounds and in the process heal our own. Indeed, to embrace the whole creation in all its diversity, beauty, and wonder. Okay, so Wangrai Maathai was standing on a bright blue podium in Oslo City Hall, and here she was going to be awarded with the Nobel Peace Prize. When she was awarded with this Nobel Prize, she took time and she spread her words, which says that we are called to assist the earth. Listen, students, we are always taught that we human beings are born with a purpose, and each of us have some purpose to live. And Wangrai believed that we have a purpose to serve this earth, to serve this planet, to embrace the whole creation in all its diversity, beauty, and wonder. When she received the Nobel medal, the crowd rose in applause, and celebratory ululation for Kenyan women reverberated throughout the vast space. Ululation basically means a way to cheer person. Only 3 years earlier, you can see the picture of Maathai, the red colored dressed. You can see how proudly she is standing and facing the world eye to eye. Only 3 years earlier, Maathai had been under arrest for protesting the human rights and environmental abuses of Kenya's former strongman president, Daniel Arap Moi. Since 1977, she had organized a network of rural women into Green Belt movement. I have already discussed about Green Belt movement, which planted 30 million trees while also sowing seeds of democracy. So in Green Belt movement, they have planted 30 million seeds. Students, you can see that they have planted 30 million seeds, and therefore it is known as Green Belt movement, because it was a very huge achievement. She took start, and along with her people, she didn't give up, and she was successful. She was arrested before this. She was beaten, harassed, and jailed for the efforts until December 2002, when she was voted into the parliament in Kenya's first free election in a generation. So, before this, she has to face a lot. She was behind the bars. She had faced a lot of insult. She had faced a lot of problems. She was put behind the bars. She was beaten due to her efforts, but in her first open election of Kenya, she was elected as a member of parliament. Okay, and soon after appointed deputy minister for the environment. Look, students, how success can come to you if you don't stop, if you keep on working. She was awarded as deputy minister for the environment. Maathai got news of her Nobel Award one morning as her van bounced along rough roads past pineapple plantation outside Nairobi. Just she was settling in her an interview with me, Norwegian ambassador was initially unable to get through her cell because Maathai was in a typically hands-on fashion, setting up the public address system for an upcoming meeting. Students, Look, when for the first time she was awarded with the Nobel Prize, and when she just got this news, she was passing from near the pineapple plantation. The Norwegian ambassador was initially unable to get through on her cell because Mathai was in a typically hands on fashion, setting up the public address system for an upcoming meeting. So she was going to address the huge crowd. When he called back and relayed the astonishing news, Mathai put her hand in the air, exclaimed, "Oh, wow," and got teary as she hung up the phone. She soon regained her equanimity, and once she arrived in Naira, her parliamentary district in central Kenya, she planted her trees, knees on the ground, hands in the red soil. So, when she got the news, she was not able to believe. She was not able to gulp the news, and she was so shocked, and she really don't know what to say. When she hung up the phone, she just raised her hand and said, "Oh wow." When she reached to the parliament, she planted the seed and then kept her hands on the red soil and said, that she was extremely grateful because the soil has gave her the fame which she have earned today. Why did you focus your initial efforts on trees? Syria asked. Syra asked, why did you focus your initial efforts on trees? Mathai says, in the mid 1970s, I was an officer in National Council of Women of Kenya, and I found myself talking to rural women about the problems they were facing. One of the issues was not enough energy from firewood. Another was a lack of clean drinking water. So, when Syra asked that why was she was basically protecting the rights of women. So what made her think about those trees? She said that when she was talking with those women, she realized that their main problem was not getting a clean drinking water and those firewoods. We all know where water comes from forested mountains. Another problem was malnutrition. A lot of farmers had switched from producing food for household consumption to producing cash crops like coffee, tea to sell in international market. Listening to women talk, I came to understand the linkage between environmental degradation and needs of communities. So Mathai says that the main problem was malnutrition. Why malnutrition? Because many farmers were now facing problems because farmers were now producing cash crops to earn more and more money, and they were not producing household consumption. Therefore, people were facing malnutrition problem. Then she came to know that there was linkage between environmental degradation and needs of communities. Therefore, environmental was degrading day by day. With our development, environment was getting degraded, and along with that, even we humans were facing the problems. Why not plant the trees? I thought. It seemed reasonable and doable. Anybody can dig a hole and put a tree inside and water it and nurture it. Yes, it is easiest thing. We don't require much to do. We just have to dig a hole, put the seed, and then a wonderful tree comes upon. Tree provide a source of fuel. Now, there is a lot which a tree provide. She says that they are the source of food. They provide material for building and fencing, fruits, fodder, shade, and aesthetic beauty. Trees also offered women a small income. The Green Belt movement paid them for each seeding they successfully raised. So, along with that, women were getting employment, and trees were giving a great help, as they were acting as fuel, they were acting as fodder, they were acting as shade, they were giving fruits, and everything which a person needs. Now Saira asks, how did tree planting lead to pro-democracy action? Mathai says, as people talk to us, we would ask, where do you think these problems come from? Almost all would blame the government. Yes, of course. Now, even now, when we face some problem, even now when we are coming to see something wrong, we always face we always blame government. So here Mathai created a movement that was not only about taking action to protect the environment, but also about citizens. Now, planting tree was not only about protecting the environment, it was protecting the people. It was about protecting the civilization of the country, but also about citizens' responsibility to demand a better government. The government didn't like this. The Green Belt movement became a target, not because we were planting trees, but because we were explaining how trees disappear and why it is important for citizens to stand up for their environment and their rights. Okay, now the reason initially we have heard initially we have heard that Mathai was behind the bars. Now you might be thinking that she was just planting the trees. That what made government to put her behind the bars? Why was she bitten? But the reason was they were explaining the citizens, they were explaining the people that why it is necessary to plant trees and where are the trees disappearing. Where are the trees disappearing? And what's the reason behind the disappearance of the trees? All those reasons were being explained by them. And that was something which was troubling to the government. Saira asked, the Nobel Committee gave you the Nobel Peace Prize for your contribution to the sustainable development. What do you mean by sustainable development, students? Sustainable development means satisfying the needs. Sustainable development means satisfying the needs of the current generation along with the needs of upcoming generation. I repeat, what do you mean by sustainable development? Sustainable development means satisfying the needs of current generation without being sacrificing the needs of future generation. Okay, like if we are satisfying our needs, then there should be something which can even satisfy the needs of the future generation. There should be something left for the future. Democracy and peace. Have you always seen the connection? Mathai says, if a clean and healthy environment is a right, you cannot gain this right unless you have a democratic government that respects and acknowledges your rights. So what Mathai says? Mathai says that if getting the clean environment is your right, then no one can stop you. But it requires a democratic government. If we do not have citizens who acknowledge these rights, also assume the responsibilities, we are not going to have a clean and good environment. She says, yes, it is very true words that unless and until we are going to understand this thing, that what are our rights and what are our responsibility towards our nature, what are our basic responsibilities, we are not going to have a clean and good environment. If people struggle over resources, we are going to have conflicts, not peace. Of course, it's a very simple thing that if we are not getting enough resources, if we are not satisfied with our resources, we are going to have conflicts, not peace. Saira says, for decades you were leading a member of opposition, but now you are a deputy government minister. What has that been like? Students, look, this question was amazing because for every time Mathai was in opposition to the government, now she was part of the same government. How does it make her feel? Mathai says, initially I was not very keen on getting into parliament, but eventually I felt that after so many years it was time to try and change it from the inside. Sometimes things in government so slowly But I believe it is important for those of us who work from outside to get into inside and see how can we help. Also, I am one of the very few women to have had this opportunity. So what does she say? That she was not very eager to be part of this government. She was not wanting to be part of this government, but then she realized that it was necessary. We have always seen the we always says that we always say that we government works slowly, but eventually someday government changes, and it is very necessary to get inside and be the part of it and understand that how does it work and how our little efforts can make it work. So, and she says that of course this was an opportunity with not which is not awarded to everyone, and she was among the few. So it was necessary to just hold and grab that opportunity. Saira says, you have seen tough times over the years, but you never gave up. How did you keep going? Of course, students, whatever we start, whatever the journey is, whatever new you are going to do, whatever change you are going to make, everyone is going to question you. Everyone is going to you are going to face the opposition. You are going to face a little bit of hatred. But the thing is, you don't have to give up. You have to hold on. She says, I knew we did not have to live like this as long as there was way we could break the cycle of poverty and disempowerment. I found the energy to continue. Also, I was deeply encouraged by our successful campaign. When you planted a tree, it grew. So, what happened? A very important message she gave in a simple lines. She says that how long a person is going to live such life? How long we are going to face all those things? There should be a stoppage. There should be a stop towards things which are annoying us, for things which are creating discomfort to us. We cannot even always complain about things, but we have to someday take a step towards it. She says a very important line. She was very much encouraged with her campaign. When you plant a tree, it grew. Listen, students, when you plant or when you sow a seed, it's just a seed. It's just a seed. A seed, very small seed, which is just like a bead, The soil nurture it. You nurture it. The nature comfort it with the love and compassion. Someday, that seed, while growing, has to face a lot. Sometimes heavy rain, sometimes strong wind, and sometimes animals for which that plant is a fodder. But that little plant does not give up. It just goes on. And that little seed, once used to be seed, becomes a tree right now. All flourished with the branches, all covered with green leaves and fruits and leaves, doing a lot of favor to the people around. And that was something which encouraged her, that no matter what comes to her way, but someday she'll be successful. Now Saira asks, what does the Nobel Peace Prize mean to you? It is a wonderful recognition, honestly. I'm still pinching myself. It is an honor like no other and perfect crown at the end of the long struggle. The prize also recognizes that women in many countries struggle, but nobody knows about it. Many people ignore you and consider you a nuisance. So, the Nobel Prize was nothing but just a recognition which made her believe, or made many women believe, that once after a long struggle, you are going to be honored, you are going to be recognized by the world. And there are a lot of people who consider them as nuisance are going to praise her someday. It was a wonderful gift. It was a wonderful achievement for Mathai. What message does the prize send? That bottom-up development produces result, and that the solutions to the African problem will most likely to be found among Africans. Of course, students, every problem has the solution. Every problem has the solution. We might be searching for solution all over the world, but solution might be just in our hands. It would be so close to us and so easy to achieve, but sometimes we ignore. The Nobel Peace Prize is also a recognition of all work done at grassroots level. So this comes with a lot of messages to me. The people of Africa, the women of Africa, the women of work pro-democracy movement, advocates for peace. The prize has recognized all of our work in all collective way. Even though it came to me. So it was a result of a long hard work. It was the result of African women. It was a result of struggle she faced, and it was a very big achievement. What is next for you? I hope that I will be able to do more, including within the government, which has found my approaches a bit difficult to absorb and adopt. Yes, there were some few more things which government was hesitating to adopt, but she believed that one day she'll be able to make it successful too. I'm used to have only a few shilling in my pocket, but a good amount of 1.3 million US dollar prize money will be when establishing Wangrai Maathai Foundation, so that groups here in Kenya and abroad have an opportunity to do what I have done. So what does she say? She says that she always has the habit of carrying few monies, but this prize awarded to her will help her to develop a lot. That will help to develop the foundation. We still have a lot of work to do. We know that little work we are doing is making positive change. Look, students, the process of development is long. It is continuous process. It just go on. It is just like a knowledge which says that it does not stop. It just go on. It just go on. So here she says that it is somehow going to bring a positive change. If we can multiply that several million times, we can improve the world. So indeed, the work of improving the world, of making the change, is of course going to be difficult, but not impossible. Okay, so Wangrai Maathai made a very Wangrai Maathai had made a great change, and it gives us a message that if we start with something, there is nothing which is impossible. We are somehow going to achieve it, and there is nothing which is impossible. Wangrai Maathai is an illustration for many of the women. It is illustration for the world. Thank you so much, students. I hope I was very much clear to you all, and things are very much clear to you all, and I was making sense throughout the chapter. I wish that you just go on reading the chapter. Just go through the chapter, read it thoroughly and understand it. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a great day. Stay safe, stay happy.